Y'all, we got to pray for DMX. We really do. For those of you who don't know, this is Camson. I do taboo talks, and I'm basically an end time voice. I'm basically a watchman. And so I noticed that DMX has been in the news a lot lately. So I want to share something with you all about the secret society and the rituals where initiates, they have to witness each other killed in these death rites, these rituals, and being told that they may be killed too. This is a very real thing. The link is here. Actually, if you want to go to this website and read more information, this is where I got some of the information from. But after trauma rituals and being threatened, ritualistic death comes next. And some of the things like 9/11, the World Trade Center, the Columbine shootings, all of those things were magic rituals, rites of death. Blood sacrifice is a very real thing. And blood is kind of payment for the power and the luxurious lives that the stars are offered. Satan told Jesus, if you bow before me, I'll give you all of these things. I'll give you all these kingdoms. And so we have to remember in scripture, the prophets of Jezebel and Ahab, they cut themselves to get their God to answer them. And their God is Baal, Satan, Moloch. He goes by many names. I even recently came to the full understanding that he goes by the name Jehovah and Elohim. Any name that ends in El basically represents Satan or one of the fallen angels who followed him. Prince was someone who was murdered by the hidden hand. That was a ritualistic style death. He died in an elevator. Aaliyah was another. Aaliyah is someone who dated Dame Dash and Jay-Z. And look at all the things that went on between Jay-Z and Dame Dash. That there's a power struggle happening just like it did in the cotton field. And you have black rappers who basically are competing with each other to suck up to the Zionist Jew and be able to have these businesses and this power. It's funny how life is interpreted by art, and sometimes art imitates life. Aaliyah died exactly how she died in the last movie she did, which was in fire and ashes. It's a really sad thing. And so what we have to realize is that the spiritual realm that the Ashkenazi Jew, the Zionist Jew, people who read the Talmud and they believe in the Talmud, the Zohar, these people are very occultic, very esoteric people. And they believe in these things. So it may be weird to you, but it isn't to them. It's a way of life for them. The rulers of this world have taught them how to do these rituals. And so blood is payment for them having the power and the lifestyles that they live. And so as the celebrities, a lot of people have videos saying Jay-Z is Illuminati. No, he's not Illuminati. Jay-Z is a puppet who's being used by the Illuminati. If you look at this picture, you can look at the faces. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? Eyes are the window of the soul, right? And the eyes never lie. Look at the eyes. Believe what you see. Don't question what you see. Believe what you see. And in their faces, I just saw utter guilt. I saw utter fear in DMX's eyes. Fear in Jay-Z's eyes. These people are slaves who are bound by the masters of this world. Now, I know some of you would say, so are you saying Jay-Z putting him in rehab isn't a sincere, genuine thing? No. This is the plan of the agenda in the last days. In the spirit realm, before you perform a blood sacrifice, you're going to communicate with people and have them write articles, put things in the media, like right here, the rise and fall of DMX. It's almost if people begin speaking as if that person has already died. as if that person has already failed and there's a complete end to them and there's no coming back from it. This is how the spiritual realm works. The spiritual realm communicates to this realm. Everything that we can feel, touch, and see manifested first in the unseen realm. And so before blood sacrifice takes place, you're going to see signs, red flags, clues. Everything's about vibration, frequency, words. And so when you have headlines like he's fallen, DMX is calling out against the Illuminati, this is setting the stage for a ritualistic blood sacrifice to take place. When celebrities are put into rehab, usually they are reprogrammed during the rehab stay. And we'll see them come out and appear to be totally different people, right? You remember this happening with the likes of Britney Spears. So this is never a good thing. Scripture, once again, I have to mention this again, in scripture, they use their blood to cry out to the God that they worship, which is Baal. And it's the same God that Hollywood worships. Human blood, hoping that it would move the God. They are pagans, and they worship these pagan gods and goddesses. And so by making incisions in their flesh and crying out, this is how you're able to get their attention. Okay, so this is scripture, what I'm telling you. Rappers now, in 1 Corinthians, it talks about where are the philosophers of this age. Well, rappers are the philosophers of this age. They are the world's brilliant debaters. Can't you see the people who battle rap, that they're debating each other in the form of a rap? That's a brilliant debater. The best rappers are people who are very philosophical, right? That's why we like them. So they are the new philosophers of this age. And so what we see happening are the Zionist Jews making them pay for the luxurious lifestyles, the money, the clothes, the houses, the cars. This is their payment. Look at Dr. Dre right here. His face, his eyes, his lips, his ears, they have all morphed and changed. And when I put this picture up, I didn't notice it until after the editing process of doing this video. And I said, oh my goodness, he was shape-shifting. When you see someone shapeshift, you're basically seeing the spirit that operates behind them manifesting itself in the picture. That's the explanation of draconians, reptilian, shapeshifters. That is biblical also. This is why Satan was called a serpent. A serpent, a reptile, draconian, those are all synonyms for each other. But you can see it on the faces. Learn to read faces and eyes. Train yourselves to discern. Anyone with the Spirit of God is able to discern these things. We are able to understand things of the unseen realm. Snoop and Dre came together and did a concert, which I could not believe. But what bothered me was when DMX went on his stage, they had dye over top of his head during his performance with the red lights and the blue in the middle. Reminds you of the Matrix, right? The red pill and the blue pill. Both pills are evil. Neither is a good thing. Satan doesn't give you a good option. You either get the white Jesus, which is Satan, or you get Satan, but both is Satan. And so this is how this world is attempting to deceive us. And we see it happen in front of us. And so secret societies have been doing this since the beginning of time. Many of these things were learned by Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel. And so America is the new Babylonian. Okay, we are Babylon. And we were commanded to come out of her. And it's just really sad. I think DMX feels it. When I look in his eyes, I can see that he feels something isn't right. And I believe that he knows what is happening, just as Prince, just as Michael Jackson, Whitney. Remember the conversations? Remember the prayer Michael had before he did his tour with the dancers? You can always see what's going to happen before it does. Look at Snoop's face. He has the same expression on his face that Jay-Z had on his face in the picture with DMX right before Tupac was murdered. Look, these people, this is very real. This is not made up. This isn't a Bernstein Bear story. This is very real. And if you cannot look at these images and see this, I suggest you pray and ask God to open your eyes. Blessed are those with eyes to see. After Tupac denied the Illuminati, he didn't allow them to do what they wanted to do with him, and he ended up dead for many reasons. Here you can see Puffy. He's spooked. Look at his face. This is right before Biggie was murdered. He was spooked. You can see it in his face. And so when I saw DMX, and even though Die is a part of many of his lyrics of his song, doesn't it look weird to you? This is how you command things to happen. It's called word magic, black magic, Enochian magic, magic spoken of in the Talmud, where they use these words to summon up and invoke demons to make this happen. So when freak accidents happen, that's how they manifest, so that it looks like an accident. Okay? This is a very, very, very real thing. And for Snoop and Dre to come together, I said, you know what? Something is about to pop off. It's some secret shit going on we don't know about. And this is the calm before the storm. And it is about to pop off. And everyone in hip-hop who is being used as a puppet has gotten wind of it. But they are powerless to do anything about it, because these people have supported a lifestyle, brought many of them out of poverty and out of the hood. And so they owe them. And they are not going to rise up against them. So I think that a lot of other people see and feel what I'm seeing and feeling. And I believe that we could possibly pray and intercede on this man's behalf. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. Be sure to say a prayer. This man is a child of God. And he has struggled with addiction and his own demons, as many of us have struggled with our own demons. And I think that's the least that we could do. Everyone has to die sometimes. And some of you may say he got himself into this. But we got ourselves into some bad situations in life too. We simply did not know. But when you know better, you do better. And so I don't know if this is going to work or not. But I thought that I would at least ask, because he touched a lot of people's hearts. And I just hate to see the enemy continue to get away with this. This man is a father. He has children. And if he can come out on the other side of this, healed of his addictions, and able to be used by God, and able to be a great father to his children, and you were a part of that and praying and interceding for his soul, I think that that is the reason we have become believers, is to be priests on earth, to pray and intercede for those who are not in a situation or mindset to do it for themselves. It's a really sad day when people can be paid to do this, but this is the world that we live in. And Yeshaya, he told us, he told us of what was going to happen. And Satan, he is warring against the saints right now. And you can feel it in the air. You can feel an ominousness. You can feel a heaviness in the air, especially those of you who are sensitive to things of the spirit. And so for those of you who desire this discernment and desire this sensitivity, know that it is a fruit of the spirit, and it is available to you as much as it is to anyone else, because Ahaya does not have respect of person. But know that in the times of Yeshaya being born, in the time of Moses being born, the same spirit of death was over the land to kill Israelites' firstborn children. Okay? And so that same spirit is after our children. And sometimes that may manifest in something happening to the parent to destroy the children. So this prayer would not just be about him, but this prayer is about for everyone. The awakening is happening. It was prophesied to happen. And so as the awakening happens, we're going to see the spirit of death against the true Hebrew Israelites which are African Americans. And so I think that this has more to do with that than specifically just to do with DMX. I also want to say, I forgot to say this, but go back and listen to the conversation between DMX and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre was trying to hurry up and get away from him. It was almost like, you crazy, get away from me. But then in the last moment before he turned and walked away, he looked at DMX and shook his hand and said, "God bless you, brother." And he didn't say it like, "Man, you're a blessed man. Your life is changing and looking up." He said it, and it sounded so ominous and so dark. It was almost as if he was saying, I hate that they have been doing this to you, and I hate that they plan to throw you off the freedom train. You know, I could be wrong, but the reason I think he was sensitive towards that, and the reason that that's what I discern, is because he lost his son, and I believe that his son was a ritualistic blood sacrifice payment for his fame. So for those of you who don't quite understand this, and for those of you who would say, but why would he sacrifice his own son? Why would Kanye sacrifice his own mother? Why would Jennifer Hudson sacrifice so many members of her family, including her nephew, whom she loved very much, and her mother? The way the spiritual realm works is, once you receive these contracts, once you receive the money into your account, once you receive those things, the material things, the cars, the houses, all of those things belong to the prince of the air. They belong to Lucifer temporarily. And so when you're on his territory, he has rights to be in your territory, which means your family does not have that specific covering that they had before you entered into a contract with Lucifer to have so many of the things that he can give you. And so that's the way it works. These people don't know that that's how the spiritual realm works. Many of them, they don't know that this is what's going to happen. They don't know that this will be payment. They don't really understand that what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul. Losing your soul, that's just for material things. If people really understood that, they would probably think twice about getting into these contracts. But that's why they usually go after people who are in poverty, people who have grew up in the hood with nothing. To you, that's success. And so that's why this happens and how this happens. I do not believe that these people know. I don't think that Mike Tyson knew that at some point he would lose the most precious thing to him, which was his daughter. And if you go back and read the headlines and see how they died, usually before something happened, there was a headline or something in the media that happens before it happens, and that's the manifestation of unseen things. Even scripture says we speak those things that be not as though they are, that we speak the power of life and death in the tongue. And so that's why Zionist Jews, it was so important for them to own the media, because through the media they can do predictive programming and magical spells and rites to cause things to happen that are lined up with their plan and lined up with the Antichrist. And so I hope this video helped explain some of these things to you all who are just coming into this and just finding this out. If you want to go to that website, groundzeromedia.org, they have some really good things on there, and check that out. And you know, and pray for my family as I pray for yours. And so peace and blessings to you. Shalom.